This just happened. I'm over at my parents' place and on my laptop when the house phone rings. My dad gets it and I hear a conversation that goes something like this. My dad, who's this? You called us. No, you called us. No, you called us. No one from here called you. I was half listening and half working on some code at the time, so I asked him what that was about. He said some lady was insistent that someone from here had called her and she was demanding to know who and why. He was more bewildered than anything at this lady's insistence, and a bit annoyed. I told him a telemarketer probably called her and spoofed our number. I shrugged the call off and went back to coding. I thought that was the end of it until the phone rang again about 2 minutes later. He saw the caller ID said private caller and gave it to me and said, "Here, you take it. You have all the answers." I took the phone and started the call. Me, hello. Lady, that was very rude of you to hang up on me while I was talking to you. Me, I have never spoken to you before. Lady, well, whoever I was talking to. You're very rude. Why did you call me? Me, no one here called you. I think what probably happened is a telemarketer called you and spoofed our number and... Lady, don't you return phone calls? I get 100 calls a day. I don't have time to spend my time returning all of these. Who called me from here? Me, lady, again, no one here called you. You were talking to my dad earlier and he already told you. Lady, starts ranting more or less of the same, getting louder and louder. Me, finally losing my patience. Lady, no one here called you, but I can see why my dad hung up on you because you're very annoying. This isn't an exact word for word and I think there was a bit more I'm forgetting, but it's close enough. Jebus, I could hear the "I want to speak to your manager" vibe in her voice and was 99% sure her name was actually Karen. Too bad for her, this isn't a store and I have no problem hanging up on her. If she's too stupid to believe no one called her and expects a more satisfactory answer, she's in for a world of disappointment. Now I work at Six Flags, and the uniforms for team members are blue polo and either black pants for foods, tan pants for games, retail, etc. I'm also really into guns, and seeing as I can't own a real one, I own some airsoft guns, and recently had gotten a flashlight grip for one of them, and didn't get batteries for it, so checking on Amazon seeing which ones it took, I decided to go to Walmart after work. It was also hot as balls that day, so I wasn't wearing a normal t-shirt under my uniform and said F it, what's the worst that could happen. I was also listening to music. I walk in, and go over to the batteries at the front and can't find them, so I decided to go over to the back of the store to see if there was any back there. Sure enough there is, so I grab them and afterwards go to the board games, to see if I could find Uno. Flipped it and grabbed that and started to head to where the shaving cream is. Then this lady comes down the aisle. Lady, excuse me. Me, lip syncing country music while looking for sensitive shaving gel. Lady, hello. Snaps fingers. Me, still lip syncing country music. Lady, ugh. Takes my headphones. What the hell are you listening to? Me, Kenny Chesney, was listening to She Thinks My Tractor Sexy LMAO. Lady, okay, 1, you shouldn't be listening to music during work, and 2, this isn't appropriate for work. Me, okay, and I should care why? Lady, because you work here. Me, no I. Lady, and shouldn't you be wearing a name tag? Me, the sarcastic P.O.SIM, yeah, I should wear a name tag to a place I don't work at. Lady, don't talk back to me, I can have you fired. Me, points to Six Flags logo, look, I don't work here and I'm not even old enough to work here, so please just go away. Lady, go get your manager. Me, I don't work here, lady. I grab my headphones, say screw the shaving cream and just go to the self-checkout. After that, she got this worker who I don't know if he was the manager, but I was out the door by the time she spotted me. I don't know what happened, if anything did, afterwards, cause I never saw the lady again, But yeah, that's my story. Not certain this story is quite a fit. If not, please feel free to tell me to go to heck. A close friend of mine used to run a motorcycle junkyard and repair shop. His father started the business, they were active for a really long time, their family owns the land, and my friend lives in a mobile home on the property the shop/yard was at. But eventually there came a point, between eBay and other online stuff, where it was costing just about as much to keep the business open as they were making, so my friend shut the place down and sold off the entire collection from the backyard in one lot. I needed shop space, the repair bay wasn't being used anymore, so I asked if I could rent the shop space. We talked it over with his mom, who is the legal owner of the land and building, and came to an agreement as to terms regarding rent and utilities. I and my shop partner moved in. There is a sign in the front window, next to the side door that leads to the shop bay, which states $former_shop_name is no longer in business, as of $date. For the first year or two, it was kind of funny, if a bit aggravating. People would stop by nearly every day, park directly in front of the clearly visible sign, come into the shop where he or I were working, and ask if we had a part for whatever motorcycle. In fact, someone came by today, and did the exact same thing. It's no longer amusing. On the 31st of October this year, the shop will have been closed for 6 years. That's right, the sign clearly states that the shop has been out of business since October 31st, 2013. No, dude, as a matter of fact, I don't have just that one little part for whatever Honda you have. No, I won't go check, because the bike shop is gone. Kaput. It is an ex-shop. They don't stop by every day, any longer, at least, but still. The shop has been closed for nearly 6 years. It's not in the phone book, or the online phone directories. It's not even on Google Maps anymore. And they always park right in front of the sign. Short and sweet. I had just gotten off work at my serving job and stopped at Publix, a chain grocery store, for some dinner. My uniform was a blue button-up and a red apron. The Publix uniform is green aprons and polos. So I'm on the phone with my sister walking through the aisles when I notice a lady staring directly into my soul, with her arms crossed and tapping her foot. I kinda lowered my phone and looked at her and she walked over to me. Her, finally. Where is the fish seasoning? Me, oh I don't actually know, I'm sorry. Her, what do you mean you don't know? Me, well I'm not sure where it's at. Maybe over in that aisle. Asterisk points to aisle. Asterisk. Her, seriously. I was just in that aisle. You need to show me where it is. And it's seriously so rude to talk on the phone like that, very unprofessional. At this point I stop an actual employee who was walking by. Employee, yes ma'am, can I help you? Me, yes she's looking for fish seasoning. Lady, yeah and I asked your employee but she was too busy talking on the phone to help. I'd really like to speak with the manager because it's poor customer service to be chatting on the phone while at work. Employee, she doesn't work here. Lady, what? Me, yeah I work at insert workplace. Lady, well it's still rude to talk on the phone like that. I had to wait for you to finish your conversation before asking for help. Next time you should be aware of your surroundings. Just because you don't work here doesn't mean you can't help me. Not as crazy as others, but still blew my mind. This happened back in 2016. My fiancé was living in Virginia at the time and I was living in Indiana. I went to go visit him and learned a few things. I was trying to be nice and make a meal for him since he said he hadn't had a homemade meal for a while. He can cook, he had just been too busy with work and it's super expensive on any coast. The food I was going to make him needed bacon bits, so while he was at work I went to go find some at a nearby store. As it turns out bacon bits are a more Midwestern item. I looked around the salad making products and couldn't find any, so thought my next option would be spices. It was here I made my dreadful mistake. One that I'm still embarrassed about to this day. When I found the spices, I looked on my own for a bit and couldn't find them, and happened to notice a woman with a cart full of stuff. She put some things back and I wrongfully assumed she worked there. So I asked her, "Me, excuse me, do you know where I can find the bacon bits?" "Lady, what?" "Me, bacon bits?" Lady, looking really confused but still smiling, "I don't know what that is." Y'all. Just then it hit me. This really nice lady didn't work there. She had no name tag, was not putting things away, and was not a connoisseur of bacon. No pork at all for this lady, because ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's when her headscarf hit me. This woman is Muslim. And I am a certifiable dumbass. I apologized quickly and made my way to the meat section to make bacon bits myself. I know I was probably overthinking it, but I really felt bad, like I had unintentionally insulted her. So Spice Lady, if you're reading this, I am so sorry. This happened a few months ago. I was at a local Wally World and I was looking for a specific DVD with no luck, even though it said the store had it in stock at that store on the online catalog. I have bad eyesight, it deteriorates as I age due to a birth defect, and it's been a few years since I've had new glasses. I saw a man wearing the colors of the store just standing in the middle of an aisle staring at me, so I approached him and asked if he could help me. That's all I asked. The man glared at me and snapped at me that he wasn't a retail slave like the idiots working at the store. Couldn't I see how expensive his clothes looked? I apologized for bothering him and promptly ducked away to wait at the counter for an employee to come back so I could ask for help. Never got my movie, but found it on a streaming app, so all's good now. I can watch it as much as I want now. This happened on Black Friday a few years back. It was my first Black Friday out shopping the sales, but I was 20 to 21. I wear my keys on a lanyard. My best friend and I were at VS, and she went in the dressing room to try some things on. She told me through the door that she needed a different size, so I went to get it for her. After handing it to her over the door, a lady I didn't know asked if I could get something down from the top rack for her. I just looked at her as my face grew red, happens so easily to me, and said, "I don't work here." Then her face gets red and she apologizes. When my friend comes out of the dressing room, we realize it's because of my lanyard and just laugh. But every time I saw that lady for the rest of the day, she apologized. I lived in a room for rent when this happened a few years ago. I had made some cheesecakes earlier that day and it was about 9 p.m. when my housemates, all of which were up for some odd reason, were annoying me for cheesecake. So I got my butt out of bed, annoyed as I had go somewhere early in the morning. I was cutting up the cheesecakes and dishing them out when my roommate came screaming through the house. Not sure how to describe it, but she was clearly off. Maybe it was the fact she accused me of trying to murder her while I was cutting up cheesecake, or how she threw a clock at my head. Not the first time she went off. The oldest of my housemates ushered us all outside so my roommate could go 50 shades of crazy inside. She dialed 911. She told them what was going on. And shortly 2 cops showed up in a cop car. They asked us whom was going nuts and we pointed inside. Which led to a rather strange moment with my roommate running outside yelling, "You'll never take me alive," before diving into a mud puddle as if it was a pool. The cops promptly picked her up and dragged her back inside. Did she think that was a pool? I asked, confused. Most likely. I love this cheesecake," said my housemate. I looked back at her. "Yeah, still have it?" I asked. "You are holding the spoon still," she said, pointing. I noticed the spoon, having forgotten I was holding it, and started to eat the cheesecake off it. After a bit the cops came back out and the one turned to me and said, "Are you her nurse?" "What?" I asked. "Are you her nurse? She needs her meds." said the one cop. I stared at him. No. I live here, I replied. Are you sure? Said the cop. Pretty sure. Why do you think I am a nurse? I asked. You are dressed like one. I looked at myself. I am wearing PJs. My hair is a mess, I have no shoes, and I am licking a spoon. I am clearly not a nurse. Please try the landlord. Thought you were, you look professional, said the cop before going to the landlord's office. I hushed my housemates to keep them from laughing as I could see they wanted to. After a bit, paramedics came and took my roommate away to get meds. The cops then left. My landlord came out and stared at me. They asked me why the nurse was saying she wasn't a nurse. Okay, who's the nurse this time? She asked. My housemates pointed to me. Yes, we all got a laugh out of it. And everyone turned out fine later.